Vegeta continues living his new life on Earth, while Raditz and Nappa are out in space, finding a new life for themselves as well. This leads them to finding another Saiyan, which ends up leading them right back to Earth. Are they going to be able to recruit Vegeta and Goku, or will there be more infighting amongst the Saiyans? We'll be seeing all that and more in this part 4 of What If Vegeta Hit His Head. Goku and Vegeta say that they don't need to settle this in a fight. There's no reason to fight here. Turles kind of expects that from them though. From Raditz and Nappa, he expects them to attack, not question it. They're Saiyans after all. They should be attacking. They should want to fight here. They should want to get rid of these poor excuses for Saiyans after all. Raditz and Nappa aren't really sure what to do. They can just leave these two here, but at the same time, they feel like if they go against Turles, then Turles is just going to go after them instead. And even with their recent increases in power, there's no way that they're going to be able to stand up against him. At least, they assume so. Raditz is the first to jump in. He eventually decides to do so, with Vegeta and Goku fending him off. Nappa nervously laughs. Looks like they won't even need his help. Raditz could just do this alone. But Turles isn't too sure, and he tells Nappa he better go join in that fight, get rid of those two Saiyans. Nappa still isn't really too sure. He's annoyed at Vegeta's behavior recently, and he does kind of agree with Turles, but at the same time, that's Vegeta, that's the prince. It's still important to him despite the fact that there's no one to be a prince of. He has the loyalty to Vegeta. Hell, he kind of raised Vegeta after all. Even though Saiyans might not have those close familial bonds, they're still gonna have that loyalty, at least to each other, especially someone like Nappa looking at Vegeta. Raditz is mainly fighting out of fear of Turles. But he still doesn't get what happened with these two. Why is Kakarot like this? Why is Vegeta like this? He saw Vegeta before. Vegeta was never like this. It was all because of that head trauma. How did that even cause that? And the fact that it happened to both of them is even worse. Turles watches on happily, as he then goes off on his own, looking for a spot to plant the Tree of Might. Vegeta and Goku are actually pretty surprised. They can't fend off Raditz. He's able to fight both of them at once. Even with their newfound strength, they can't seem to overcome him. They have been training. A lot, actually. Hell, the two have even been training as great apes. If they ever did need to break out that power, they could, and Goku could actually control it now. He still does have his tail, too. But that would definitely be very risky here because Raditz and Nappa can fight too like that. So they don't really have any other options. Is Raditz really a threat? They try and talk with him. They want to learn more about the other Saiyan, and how Raditz and Nappa got so strong. They were never this powerful. There's no way they could have gotten this strong. Raditz says even if he tried to explain, it wouldn't really benefit them. They've already lost here. Turles has decided to take this planet for himself. And he doesn't say this in a triumphant way. He just says that as a matter-of-fact thing. And Vegeta can see right through it. He sees what's happening here. The two of them are hesitant to do this. That's why Nappa didn't jump in immediately to fight them. They're scared of that guy, aren't they? Raditz tells Vegeta to shut up, hitting him with a powerful punch. But Vegeta knows that's exactly what it is. And Goku butts in. He asks if this is actually true. If they want to stand up against that guy, then why not have them help? He says there's no way they'll even be able to do anything. He nervously chuckles. They can't even fight him or Nappa. And on top of that, it's not like they wanted to help fight Frieza before. Why do they want to help fight this guy now, even if that is the case? Well, Goku says it because they brought the threat here to Earth. They don't really have a choice, they're gonna have to fight him anyways. With Frieza, it's not like they wanted to get involved. Yeah, they did have the nice prospect of fighting someone strong, especially for Goku that was a huge plus. But they weren't prepared, they weren't ready to fight Frieza. If they went out there, they'd basically be having a death wish. I mean, here it might be the same case. They don't know how strong Turles is, but still, he's here, they're gonna have to fight him regardless. They didn't back down against Frieza, they were just trying to play the long game, play it smart. I mean, Raditz and Nappa were doing the same thing too, it's not like they attacked right away. They've apparently been up to stuff. And then Nappa shouts, he can't take it anymore. He tells Raditz to face the facts. They don't want to work under Turles. Yeah, Vegeta's been weird these past few years, but they've always been loyal to him. And they know they could trust him. Hell, with Frieza, they don't know what's gonna go on there. They basically faked their deaths twice, there's no way they're gonna get back to Frieza another time. And as for Turles, even if he does somehow manage to beat Frieza, what's next? They're still gonna be under his thumb? Vegeta, and Kakarot for that matter, they both might be weak-minded. But they're not active threats to Nappa and Raditz. Vegeta's surprised that Nappa came around and said this, but he's glad that this happened. Even though Goku and Vegeta's power might not be on par with them, they could find a way to win. They could use strategy to win here, especially with Raditz and Nappa's power backing them up. How did they get that strong after all? Nappa says he was just about to explain it. The reason Turles just left too. He's gonna plant another Tree of Might, get some more fruits from that. That's how he got so strong, and that's what he's gonna do here too. Although he's concerned, it might already be too late. The planet's energy might already be being drained by the tree. Vegeta asks how long they have, and Nappa says the tree sprouts pretty quickly. Same for the fruits on it. They'll need to get Turles before he gets to the fruit. But they can make this work. Vegeta has a plan in mind. They'll attack Turles as quickly as they can. And he tells them, aim for the tail. If they're able to cut Turles' tail off, Vegeta will lend some of his strength to an artificial moon, allowing Raditz, Nappa, and Goku to transform. And surely with the power of a great ape, with Turles being debuffed like that, they could beat him. They just need to get the jump on him. As long as they're able to get his tail, they can and they will win. But what about Earth? The damage is already going to be done by the tree. And Vegeta says not to worry. They'll have a way to fix that, and they'll worry about that later on. Turles is over at where he planted the tree, tending to it as it prepares to sprout. A stray ki blast hits him. He looks over, seeing that same Saiyan that looks exactly like him, Goku. and he laughs a bit amused. What, did Goku manage to escape Raditz and Nappa somehow? There's no way he defeated them, so how'd he get here? Goku doesn't even answer the question. He tells Turles he could stop what he's doing now and leave. He'll give him a chance to go, and Turles bursts out into laughter. Is that a threat? Does he think he could threaten Turles? Another ki blast comes in from behind, and Turles easily knocks it away. It's from Vegeta. Where are Raditz and Nappa? He turns on his scouter. They're gone. He can't see them on there. Well, those two must have been weaker than he thought then. One thing they realized from their first visit on Earth is that Goku could lower and raise his ki whenever. These two learned how to do it before they grouped up with Turles. Although they're not that good at sense ki yet, hence the scouters. If Vegeta and Goku were able to defeat them, they definitely weren't valuable allies. But it doesn't matter. He knows he could beat them at least. And he actually welcomes them to attack once more. He'll give them an opening, wanting to showcase the full power he's gotten from the Tree of Might so far. The two launch in towards him, fighting with perfect synergy, and Turles blocks all their attacks effortlessly. Vegeta gives Goku a look, and Goku nods. He grabs Turles' tail, and then acts surprised when Turles doesn't react. Turles easily knocks Goku away. What, did Kakarot seriously think that Turles' tail was a weak spot still? He's trained it by now. His tail's not a weak spot. They were trying to grab it to stun him. If that was their plan, they definitely have no hope of winning here. But this is the reaction they were hoping for. They knew that wasn't going to do that. And they knew with their strength, they weren't going to be able to rip his tail off even if they wanted to. They don't have the speed to do that here against him. They just wanted to make sure his tail was sticking out and it wasn't wrapped around his waist. Turles' scouter then beeps. A strong power appears. Someone rockets over, hitting him right in the face. It's Nappa, and he yells out at them, now. Simultaneously, Vegeta and Goku lift their hands up, each forming a disc of energy in it, a Kienzan. Raditz then rushes in too, hitting Turles right in the gut. Nappa maneuvers behind Turles, grabbing onto the tail and holding it out. Turles swings an arm out to each side, knocking both Raditz and Nappa away. And one of the Kienzans flies towards him. He barely dodges it. It cuts off a piece of his armor. But then the other one comes through. It's Goku's, and he directs it so it hits the tail. It actually worked. Turles' tail is cut clean off. He can't believe he fell for that. And he looks around. Raditz and Nappa, they betrayed him. He kind of expected this, but it doesn't matter either way. He sees what's going on here. They're gonna try and all go Great Ape against him, and see if that works. The ground starts rumbling. The tree begins sprouting, and he watches as Vegeta creates a power ball, throwing it up into the sky as an artificial moon is created. The four Saiyans all turn into Great Apes together, ready to fight Turles. Turles smiles. He is a bit concerned, but there's one thing they didn't account for. As the tree sprouts behind him, he tries his best to hold off the four Saiyans at once, and it's tough. He even tries to go for their tails too, but whenever he tries to do so, it's not really going to work too well because he has four Great Apes fighting against him, two of whom are actually pretty powerful. And with the boost in power that they get from this, Goku and Vegeta are actually able to fight against him. Raditz and Nappa are just huge threats for him, figuratively and literally. But the tree continues sprouting. Turles just has to wait a bit, not just for the tree to grow, but for the fruit itself. And both of those are important. He starts fighting defensively, avoiding the Great Apes, trying to hide, creating crevices in the ground nearby, hiding in them, trying to be out of reach for the Great Apes. They're strong, but they can't follow him anywhere. As long as he's able to outmaneuver them, he could win here. And the best part is, none of them have scouters. It's not like they could find him at all. Well, he doesn't account for the fact that Vegeta and Goku know how to sense ki, and they're able to actually find him pretty easily. Things aren't going too well for him. No matter what he tries, he's found. He can't stay out of their reach. Even when he tries to throw up smoke screens or whatever, he doesn't know how he's being found. He's taken significant damage, but looks up with glee as the tree fully sprouts. And this is what he was waiting for. The massive leaves of the tree cover the entire atmosphere. The area around them goes completely dark. The sun is blocked out. And, more importantly, the power ball is blocked out. The four Saiyans all look kind of panicked as they start to de-transform, going back into their base form. Turles commends them. They almost had him there. But he says Raditz and Nappa made a fatal mistake. They should have accounted for the fact that the Tree of Might would have blocked out that power ball. Hell, maybe if they waited a little bit longer to throw one up, they would have been able to win here. Quickly, Nappa tries to create one of his own. Vegeta's already lost a lot of power from doing it before, and he could do it again, but that's just going to make him even weaker. But Turles knows now to watch for it. Tail or no tail, it doesn't matter. He will beat them, and they're not going to be able to transform into a Great Ape again like last time. Now that he knows what they're trying to do, he's not going to let it happen. He fends them all off at once. He has been weakened a bit, but it doesn't really matter. He's so powerful that he's able to fend off the four Saiyans at once somehow, and they're completely losing control. They see no path to victory here, especially Raditz and Nappa. They shouldn't have rebelled against him. They knew this was going to happen. Those other two were so weak, they couldn't have helped. Why were they so foolish to think so? But Vegeta tells them to be quiet. It's not over yet, and Turles begs to differ. He thinks it is. Vegeta's knocked clear to the ground, too injured to get back up. Next it's Goku, then Raditz and Nappa, who Turles enjoys beating up. Turles himself is not in great condition either, and he makes this point to them. He could beat them in his current state, so what made them think that they could have won when he was in his full power? And he looks up at the tree. He sees on one of the branches. Great, one of the fruits has already grown. And Turles tells them to bear witness of this power. Raditz and Nappa have already seen it. Hell, they know about it themselves. They've had it. But with this fruit, especially from a planet like this, he should get a nice increase in power, and it'll make a nice show for everybody. He floats up to the fruit, and suddenly, he quickly floats to the side, as a Kienzan flies past him, cutting clean through the branch as well. The fruit falls from the branch, and Turles tries to catch it midair, but then he's attacked by two smaller fighters. They don't do much damage, but it's enough to distract him. Goku and Vegeta can't believe what they're seeing. Floating there in front of Turles is Gohan and Trunks, enraged. Seeing a little bit of a boost in power from this too, not enough to hurt Turles, but enough to distract him. And next to them floats Krillin, the one responsible for throwing that Kienzan. How funny, those two Earthbound Saiyans, they had kids. Well, props to them for expanding the Saiyan bloodline. It's a shame that it's gonna have to end here though. He sticks out a hand, and then Krillin places his fingers on his head, performing a solar flare, blinding Turles as he fumbles the fruit out of his hand. Turles launches blast aimlessly trying to hit them, and the fruit rolls to the ground in front of Vegeta. He's too weak to even stand, but he reaches out for the fruit. Nappa looks over at him. He tells Vegeta, "Eat it now." And Vegeta doesn't hesitate. He takes a big bite of the fruit, and instantly, he feels rejuvenated. He bulks up considerably, then returning back to his normal size. This power that he feels flowing through him, it's absurd. He looks down at the remain of the fruit, eating it whole, and quickly, he launches a blast up at Turles. Turles' vision returns just in time, and he's able to jump out of the way once more. But Vegeta's blast is powerful. It cuts right through the tree. He wasn't actually aiming for Turles. No. The blast expands out, burning up a bunch of the leaves, cutting right through and making the power ball visible once more. Vegeta looks at the other Saiyans, telling them to look up at the sky. And then Turles sees it too. Crap. He rushes towards Vegeta as he starts transforming, but then he's blinded once again by Krillin. That damn Earthling! Those two brats! When did they get here? And as Turles' vision recovers, he then feels something grab him. With his vision having fully returned, in his point of view, he sees not one, not four, but 6 great apes, with Vegeta being the one pinning him against the tree right now. He didn't even realize those kids had tails too. They can control this form? Well, yeah, with Vegeta and Goku having their tails, there's no reason for them to not teach Gohan that. And, just for fun, Trunks was born with a tail in the scenario too. But Turles has no hope of winning now. The great apes encircle the tree, with all of them placing their hands on it. Vegeta counts down, and when the countdown finishes, they all lift the tree up, ripping it right out of the earth, before the roots can further ingrain it in the planet. Krillin's on the surface as everything is torn up. That's pretty insane, especially with the size of the tree. He knows the great apes are strong, but that is absurd. And he just looks on in awe, and just says to himself, well, now he and Vegeta are even. They saved each other's lives. And there's a big grin on his face as he starts laughing, watching as the 6 great apes all throw the tree up into space. Vegeta yells out, on his mark. A beam charges in front of his mouth, and the same happens with the 5 other Saiyans. Together, the 6 great apes all launch mouth beams. The tree is completely eradicated out in space, with Turles not having a chance of surviving, being completely decimated alongside the tree. He watches as the beams come toward him, and at first he's terrified, but right before they're about to hit, he actually smiles. You know, that was pretty fun. The 6 beams all coalesce as the tree explodes. Every single bit of Turles is eradicated too. Eventually the Saiyans all de-transform. And Raditz and Nappa are kind of amazed, seeing that those two have kids who could also turn into great apes and fight like that. Vegeta and Goku might have been weaker than them, but it seems like they were up to more here on Earth than they expected. And Goku tells his brother, it's not all about raw strength. And clearly Raditz and Nappa went a different route for getting that strength too. But what are the two Saiyans supposed to do now? It's not like they can return to Frieza again. And honestly, they don't want to stay here either. They're still unsure about Vegeta's judgment, even though they are still loyal to him. They gotta think a bit. They gotta go off on their own. But they know the rebellion is still starting. They will defeat Frieza somehow. They're just not gonna remain here. They go back to their spaceships, turning to Goku and Vegeta. Surprisingly, Nappa apologized to Vegeta for the misunderstanding. But Vegeta says he's just glad that Nappa saw the light finally. Same for Raditz. And Raditz looks over at the two of them, seeing his brother and his nephew. It's awkward and he doesn't really know what to say either, but Nappa says they'll be hearing from them soon. The two Saiyans launch off into space, not really knowing where to go next. And Krillin questions, that tree did a lot of damage, so they're gonna have to try and restore Earth somehow. Vegeta says he's not too worried. They could just use the Dragon Balls. And they look over at the crater and see the huge extent of the damage. It's way worse than they thought. Well, at least they stopped it before it got too rooted into the Earth. And Goku asks how Vegeta's feeling. That fruit, it must have granted him some insane power. Goku can still feel it overflowing. And Vegeta says he's not sure how he's gonna even control this, but he didn't really have a choice. And that makes Goku wonder, what did the fruit taste like? Oh, Vegeta thought he was gonna ask about the power of it or something, but you know, it tasted surprisingly okay. Krillin's already gone into the crater just to look around, and he yells at them. He tells them to come down here real quick. It seems like the tree made more than one fruit. At the very bottom of the crater in the center, it seems like there's a couple of fruits down there. 3 of them, actually. Interesting. And Vegeta tells Goku, well, now maybe he could taste that fruit. See for himself if he likes it. Well, no one's really sure what to do with the fruits, and honestly if it's even safe to eat them. But they guess they'll figure something out. Gohan and Trunks are just as curious too. But Goku and Vegeta make sure to keep them away from that. Yeah, they're gonna have to figure something out about those. But until then, this is where we're gonna leave off for now. What'd you guys think about this part? What's gonna happen next time? Especially with those extra fruits. What's gonna happen with Raditz and Nappa? Same with Vegeta and Goku too. I'd love to see what you guys think, so be sure to comment below. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already, especially if you want to see more videos like this because it really does help out the channel. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video.